Hi everyone and welcome back to Pokemon. Today we're taking a look at 5 interesting Scarlet and Violet Pokemon cards that increased in total over 700% over the last 6 months. But before we do, make sure to leave a like, subscribe and let me know down below in the comments which card from the Scarlet and Violet era your favorite card is. By doing so, you automatically enter our first 100 subscribers giveaway. Without further ado, let's roll the intro. The first card we are gonna take a look at is the Kirlia from the Scarlet and Violet base set. This card has a raw value of around $10, but the PSA 10 value increased almost 70% over the last month. The PSA 10 value of this card today is worth around $110. And if we take a look at the PSA report, we can see that this card has around 800 created PSA cards, but only 112 in a PSA 10, which makes that this card has a PSA 10 rate of only 12.75%, which is extremely low, and this makes this card in a PSA 10 a very interesting investment opportunity on the long term. The reason why I chose this Kirlia is also because this card is part of the big Gardevoir evolution from the Scarlet and Violet base set. I do think that these 3 cards are probably the most interesting cards to pick up from the Scarlet and Violet base set, except for the Miriam, which is also pretty cheap today. I think the card is going for around $25 raw. But these 3 cards from the Gardevoir evolution from Scarlet and Violet base set have a total value of $45 in a raw near mint state. So if you're thinking about picking up some cards from the Scarlet and Violet base set, I can definitely recommend these 3. Also, the Ralts from this evolution has a PSA 10 value of around $120. And this card is also pretty interesting because if we take a look at the PSA report, we can see that this card only has a PSA 10 ratio of 20.62%. The next opportunity from the Scarlet and Violet era is the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved. The artwork from this card is absolutely amazing. This card has a raw value of around $60 and increased 28% over the last 6 months. The PSA 10 value of this card is $380 nowadays. And that's also a result of the fact that if we take a look at the PSA report, the PSA 10 ratio of this card is only 21%, which is also pretty low. A total of 2,000 created PSA cards, but only 466 PSA 10s. Because this card is a top chase card from Paldea Evolved, I also think that Paldea Evolved will gain some interest on the long term, and the fact that only 466 PSA 10s of this card do exist, I do think that investing a big amount of $380 today in a PSA 10 of this Magikarp is a good investment on the long term. Another interesting card from the Paldea Evolved set is the Squawkabilly. On the first side, it's nothing too special, too important, but the raw value of these cards tripled in value over the last 6 months, from $5 to $15, and this card has a PSA 10 value of $85. The fourth interesting card is the Charizard EX from Scarlet and Violet 151. Already a pretty iconic set from the Scarlet and Violet era. This card has a raw value of $36 and increased 44% over the last 6 months. If we take a look at the PSA report, we can see that this card has a total PSA report of 2,875 cards and a total of 1,476 PSA 10s, which makes a PSA 10 ratio of 51%. And then we have the Squirtle from 151 with a raw value of $29, increased 225% over the last 6 months, absolutely insane, and has a PSA 10 ratio of only 36.05%. Only 700 cards in a PSA 10 from the Squirtle from 151. If you are interested in investing in 151 cards, I do think that the starter Pokemons, Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur are pretty interesting cards to look at. Almost every card from the starter Pokemons increased over the last 6 months from the Scarlet and Violet 151 set. And also the PSA 10 ratios of these cards are pretty low because the English print quality is pretty bad. So to conclude, I am looking at the evolutions from the Gardevoir EX from Scarlet and Violet base. I am looking at a PSA 10 version of the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved and the starter Pokemons from 151. And there you have my 5 interesting investment opportunities from the Scarlet and Violet era. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and let me know down below in the comments which card from the Scarlet and Violet era is your favorite. By doing so, you automatically enter our first 100 subs giveaway. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.